What's happening, YouTube? KitePlanet here, or Kite if you're like that. Some people aren't like that, but I'm like that. As always, guys, if you like the content, if you like these videos, hit the like button, subscribe if you want, and drop a comment if you like it, because I don't know if you like it. I don't know. I mean, if you hit the like button, obviously. But yeah, today's a special video. Well, every video I say is special, but it's all special to me. So I'm going to be giving AKATSUKI members from Naruto grimoires, or a magic, essentially. I'm giving them each a magic from the Black Clover verse. They're all original, almost all of them are original magics that I've created. We have some Wizard King level mages or magics that I've given to the AKATSUKI members. We also have some forbidden magic going on. So we got a little bit of everything in here. And so yeah, these are all original magics, almost all of them. Some just like they don't need original magic because their shit is too similar to something else. So I think that's about it. Like for me, please. Get this video if you want to see more like this. 200 plus likes, obviously. Subscribe if you like the content. And yeah, let's get right into it. So first, out of the AKATSUKI members, let's just say they pull it up to the Grimoire Library or the Grimoire Tower, which you get your magic at 15 years old. If you're not there when you're 15, after that age, you can pull up to any Grimoire Tower or library in the kingdom and get your grimoire assigned. So let's say they got transported to this verse, they got isekai'd, funny enough, and yeah, they're all getting their grimoires and their magic. So that's how we're gonna do this. All right, so first in line is our girl Conan. What magic do I give Conan? All right, so I've given Conan origami magic, right? Not too crazy, but she can fold and bend other magic spells and objects like paper. It does not work on human beings. So she can't fold you up if she hits you with her magic, but she can take your spells, fold them up once she hits them, and then store them to be released and shot back at you if she wants, or she can just keep it and save it for another day. I think this is good for Conan because she's not an outright offensive style fighter, but she is very preparatory. She will prepare. We've seen that with her fight with Toby, the 10 billion paper bomb ocean thing. So that's how she fights. So imagine her other group members in the AKATSUKI shooting attacks at her. Obviously, if they're too massive, she won't be able to fold them up and use her magic on them. It won't work. So, you know, relatively equal to her power level spells, she takes them, folds them up, stores them, and then uses them later in a fight. I imagine that's how she would use this magic. So yeah, she has origami magic. She can fold and bend spells in objects like paper. And like I said, it just doesn't work against spells. It works against objects. So if she's fighting this and that, and she made a boulder, she folded it up and tossed it up earlier in the fight, you didn't see it, and now it's coming down to you, and you have a decision to either block Conan's current spell she's firing or dodge the rock that's going to land on you. She puts you in a kind of a predicament that she's going to get a guaranteed hit. So that's how I imagine Conan would use that. You can see that. So next on the list, we have our first Wizard King level magic, or mage, an AKATSUKI mage. This is a new squad in the Wizard Mage Knight. Fuck. You know what I'm talking about. This is a new squad and all that stuff. And these are like, I don't know, the fucking red cloud, the red wind, the red blood. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? A new group, squad captains. So we got Kisame, and he's our first Wizard King level magic. At least in my opinion, I think it has the ability to reach Wizard King level. Like, every magic can be made Wizard King level if you're strong enough, if you know how to use your magic. Some are just like obvious, like, oh, like, yeah, that's okay. Like time magic, anti-magic, dark magic. Like, come on now. Those are like, all right, you get the light magic and you're like, yeah, that's broken. So Kisame has ocean magic, not water magic. He has ocean magic. So he can create and control large quantities of water. I'm talking about massive, like the size of like lakes, not oceans, because that would obviously destroy the world. If the world got hit with a ball of water that was the size of an ocean, it would do considerable damage to the earth, if not like destroy it entirely. So yeah, so he can control large quantities of waters. Also, it has the properties of an ocean. So it's a universal solvent. Since water is a universal solvent, which means it dissolves almost anything, or they use it to dissolve most stuff. When you shoot your magic at it, it just absorbs your magic, mixes it into the spell, and then takes on the attributes of your magic. So if you shot a lightning spell to block Kisame's giant water ball, it would absorb, if it was less than the mana put into the spell that Kisame did of water, it would absorb your magic and combine its attributes. So now you have a ball of water that is radiating and emitting lightning. And when lightning and water mix, you already know what's about to happen, which, like I said, it has all the properties of ocean water. So it has higher conductivity of electricity. So yeah, it also has like a higher or a lower freezing point or something like that, or a lower melting point, one of those two. Like there's a lot of attributes to ocean water that is different from regular water. And so Kisame has all those attributes. Some of them are weaknesses, some of them are strengths. When I get my members figured out, I'll do like members only videos that go into depth about the videos I make, because I can't put all the information in every video I make because they'll be like 50 minutes to an hour long, and people don't have the attention span for that. Most people, some of y'all do. I do. I love watching long videos about anime, but that's just me. So yeah, that's Kisame's magic. Ocean magic creates large quantities of water. He can absorb your spells. If your attack is weaker than his, he'll take on the properties of whatever your magic spell that you launched it was, and then it'll keep launching back at you. So yeah, very dangerous. Kisame is our first Wizard King level. There are only two. I didn't want to make everybody strong, but everybody is a S rank ninja in their verse. So I think S rank ninja can really go toe to toe with Magic Knight squad captains. Am I ridiculous to say that? Like, I truly think they can go toe to toe in 1v1 fights, every single one of them. Maybe not Toby, but you know, well, Toby's technically, everybody can. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. They can. Like, they could be squad captains, in my opinion, if not really close. So next we have sorcery. What are we gonna give sorcery? Every magic has to be original. So I've created something called, also sorcery works in tandem with another AKATSUKI member and their magic. So I'll get into that right after this. But sorcery wields artisan magic, and it allows him, if you think about it, sorcery's, I know at first I was like string magic or thread magic or something like that, rope magic, fabric magic, something like that. And I was like, nah, if you think about sorcery skills, it wasn't the controlling the puppets that was his skill. Yes, he was good at that. It was the creation of them. So I wanted to take that and like, yeah, he's an artist and like he crafts things. So he can craft in any objects together and create whatever structure he wants. So he can create golems, puppets, structures, weapons, and then he can control and command these things. So like if he creates a golem out of a bunch of different materials, like out of rocks or metal or whatever, he can apply even magic attributes to them. If he like takes a spell and crafts it onto a spell that was shot at him and crafts it onto and adds it to whatever structure he created, it can take on the attributes of that. So it's a pretty broken magic, but it's not really offensively powerful. So yeah, he can create things. Now he works in tandem with this next member, and that would be Datara. Funny enough, he has nitro magic, and he can detonate anything he touches or hits with his magic. And that's just the simplicity of it. He could just blow up things that he touches or hits with his magic spells. But the trickiness to his ability is the fact that he can detonate it at different times. So he can either set it to detonate instantly when he touches it, when his magic touches it, or you can set a timer, or he can set it to blow when it comes into contact with magic. So he can essentially create a minefield, or he can take a handful of, like, think about this. He takes a handful of feathers out of his pocket and he tosses them into the air, and each one of these feathers can blow up if touched by magic. And then let's say you're like, oh shit, like, let me just turn my magic off. Well, you turn your magic off, then he's just going to throw something else at you and hit you with the spell directly and blow you up. So it's kind of hard to fight Datara, but he's not overly broken. But what he does is he sets his nitro magic and touches sorcery's artisan magic creation. So like if sorcery creates a golem, like a rock golem of something out of the earth, and Datara touches it, now if it makes contact with magic, it's going to explode and blow up. Or like he can set whatever, a timer to blow up at any time. And you just don't really know when fighting that type of thing. So yeah, sorcery and Datara kind of work as a team with their magics, but they're individually pretty good. Not too broken, but they can fight on their own. Next we have Kakuzu. So the magic I gave Kakuzu was vault magic. That is vault magic, V-A-U-L-T. So Kakuzu can store objects in his vaults, or little pocket dimensions, and he has 5 of them. And once he adds his mana into whatever he stored in the vault, he can launch and manipulate it as a spell. So if he stores water in there, rocks or earth, fire, or like electricity, say one of his teammates shot an electricity blast at him, he can store that electricity and then manipulate it as his own spell, take over it by adding his mana to it. So yeah, Kakuzu's not really a super offensive fighter. He's offensive, but it's more preparatory, kind of like Conan, where he has to prepare before a fight because his magic isn't inherently offensive. It's just storing things, and then he can take control of whatever he stores. It's kind of like the key magic thing for the dude in the Black Clover movie. I can't remember his name, but the former Wizard King. It's kind of like that, but to a way smaller scale. He only has 5 vaults, like the 5 chakra natures he had access to. And so, yeah, but he can store spells. If you launch stuff at him, as long as it's not too massive, like he's not going to be able to take on Kisame's ocean magic spell. It would literally just wipe him out with the sheer amount of water. So, yeah. Also, before I even get too far, let me know after I name off everybody's magic, who's the strongest? Like, who's the strongest in 1v1? Because, like, I'll discuss it more at the end, so stick around to the end. But yeah, vault magic, store objects in his vaults or pocket dimensions, add his mana to it, and he can take control of them and launch them back at you as spells and manipulate them. So yeah, next we have Toby, which is the only person who I didn't give an original magic to because it's Toby. Like, I gave him spatial magic, so he can move through space. Not too hacky. He's basically Finral, but he probably uses it better, and he can probably use it in a fight to like attack offensively and then shift out. Finral doesn't do that. He literally just transport. Well, Finral's stronger now, like in the manga, but you know, from the anime, what we've seen, Toby would be better with spatial magic than Finral, but it's just spatial magic, nothing crazy. There's different forms of it, so he can transport and teleport basically. Whereas Longris has spatial magic as well, but he doesn't transport through things. He uses his spatial magic to launch balls of spatial magic at you, and they basically erase your matter. Like, they take and rip your body apart because it's taking whatever it hits and transporting it to somewhere else, or erasing it essentially. So yeah, different ways to use spatial magic, but Toby's is just like Finral's. All right, now we have Hidan. We have our first person that has a forbidden magic. And so at first I was like, yo, let's just give him a regular magic, but no, he's Hidan, he's weird. And I wanted to give him ritual magic for obvious reasons, but I decided, you know, I like that name, but there's a better way to do it. So he has poison magic, and it's forbidden poison ritual magic. That's what it is. So what Hidan does is he uses runes. Yes, he writes runes just like they do in the Heart Kingdom. Funny enough, we're adding things to this to draw magic circles wherever, and they emit a poison. Once you come into contact enough with the poison, and it starts to slowly take over your mind and body until you become like a slave, essentially. Like, he can control you. So it's similar to his ability in Naruto, where like he has to get your blood and then you can't move. But now, once you ingest or absorb enough or come into contact enough with this poison, so the longer you fight Hidan, the more like realization you're gonna come to that you're about to lose, because you start losing your function. And then once he completely controls you, he can either choose to have you fight on his behalf and you become like his minion or slave, or he can just kill you because you can't move on your own now. You lost sovereignty, you lost autonomy. He controls you now, so he can just kill you instantly. So yeah, that's Hidan. Forbidden. He has a forbidden magic, and it's poison magic, but it's called forbidden poison ritual magic. But it's just poison magic. It's just a forbidden version of it. So next we have Orochimaru. I had fun with this one. All right. So Orochimaru has 2 magics. All right. We'll get into it. So his first and base magic is transformation magic. He can mimic the appearance of any living being perfectly. That's animals, elves, humans, devils. Like, if he sees it and knows what it is, he can transform into it. And he also replicates the mana signature. So strong mages or wizards, whatever, magic knights, they can see that if you're transforming to someone else, they notice, hey, that person's like transformed. That's not who that is. I can just tell by their magic. But Orochi, like people like Julius Novachrono would realize someone who is in a transformation. But even he cannot detect Orochimaru's transformation because it mimics the mana signature as well. If the person he's mimicking has more mana than him, he takes in mana from the air to mimic the mana signature. However, he cannot wield that extra mana. It's just there as a deception. So yeah, pretty cool. Transformation magic is pretty broken for Orochimaru. Now, he also has another magic, or you could even say that this is the forbidden version of transformation magic, but I wanted to call it forbidden vessel magic for obvious reasons. Vessel magic, and it's a forbidden spell where he can take the imprint of one's existence and move it onto another vessel. And he can even do this with himself. So he can take his existence, use his spell, and transfer it onto another person. Obviously, this takes time. He cannot do it instantly because that would be broken. But that's why it's a forbidden magic. It takes time. You got to build it up. You got to create the ritual and all that stuff. That's why it's forbidden. But he can really shapeshift into anybody's body. He can transfer bodies, revive people by adding other imprints onto dead bodies. You know, kind of like reanimation, Edo Tensei. But yeah, he can do that. And you can also say that this is just a forbidden version of transformation because it is transformation. Technically, it's just transformation backwards. First, you know, your outer appearance transforms in transformation magic. But with forbidden vessel magic, it's the inner that transforms first. And then once it gets used to the new soul existence in it, then the outside will start to shift in back into what your original body looked like. Kind of broken. It's just like reverse transformation magic, but we call it vessel magic. Pretty cool. I like Orochimaru's abilities, and yeah, pretty broken. All right, now we have Zetsu. At first, I was going to give Zetsu like a pretty ass magic because he's Zetsu and not really a lot of people like Zetsu. But I wanted to give him an original magic that I created because I'm cool and I make good magics, if I do say so myself. Yeah, so I've given Zetsu diffusion magic. You know what diffusion is? It's just like the spread of particles, you know, through the air. Like it just spreads. And diffusion applies to particulates. It also applies to ideas, concepts, and really anything. So like if I take a Febreze bottle and I spray a concentrated burst of that scented air or the fragrance, I didn't spray it around my entire room. I just sprayed it in one spot, but eventually it will diffuse and spread into my entire room, making it smell good. It's what scents do with candles. When you cook food, the scent, the smell permeates and diffuses through the air. So Zetsu, he can just spread and merge with things down to a particle level. That's all he can do. He can't really do too much. It is dangerous if he touches you, though. If he touches you for too long, he can start to merge or remove body parts by breaking the particles down in a certain area, and then your freaking hand will fall off. But it takes a minute to do that. So you can beat Zetsu pretty easily by just realizing you're not going to let someone touch you for 5 to 10 seconds in a fight. That's just not going to happen unless someone's just extremely more powerful than you. And I don't think Zetsu's that guy. So like you can beat him easily, but he's still dangerous. He just uses it to shift and move through matter. That's how he uses it. But it can be used offensively. Now, next we have Pain. And this was a hard one because Pain has a lot of powers, man. He can like mess with your soul. He can summon animals. And that's all through the Rinnegan. But I didn't want to give him some sort of visual magic. I wanted to make him something where he's like iconic for. And Pain is iconic for, you know, Shinra Tensei, Shibaku Tensei, and that type of thing. So I wanted to do something like that. And at first I was like, oh, wind magic. But like, nah, like we can do better than that. I can do better than that. So I wanted to give him a vector. What is a vector? I'm not good at explaining what it is. I know what it is, but I'm not very good at verbalizing what it is because there are different examples of vectors. And I took one of the examples that is a vector, and velocity is a vector. So I gave Pain velocity magic. And with velocity magic, he can assign a direction and a speed to anything within his sight, living or inanimate. So it's kind of like Chibaku and Shinra Tensei, where he can push things or pull things. And I added on to that with velocity because velocity without direction is just speed, but velocity or speed with direction is velocity. So he can change the speed of something and he can assign it a direction. So, and that's just on air. So he can, like if he can apply it to himself as well. So if he's fighting, he can move and ways that break the laws of physics. Like he can go up, left, and he can stand on air and all that stuff. He can apply the direction and the velocity and the speed of it. So Pain is pretty broken, and if he can see you, he can do it. He's one of the only people that he doesn't have to actually shoot a spell at you. He can just do it by sight. Pretty broken. Not something we really see in Black Clover. The only person who really does that, I mean, there's a lot of people that do it, but like Asta doesn't really call out like spells for real. It's just like the name of his sword, and then he does have things like Black Hurricane and all that stuff, but when he's attacking you, he's just hitting you, and then you get the effects of anti-magic. You suffer the side effects of getting hit by anti-magic. Not all of them have to be named attacks. And same with, I want to do Pain because Pain's a pretty strange, Pain Nagato, you know, pretty cool. But yeah, velocity magic. Velocity is a vector. Now, lastly, we have Itachi. And he's our last character, or he is the last character, and he does have Wizard King level magic. So there's only 2. But yeah, he has Wizard King level magic, and I had 2 magics that I created for him, and I couldn't pick, but I eventually did pick. So I'm not gonna read off the first one just because I might use it another time, but it's sick, bro. I'm not gonna lie, it's actually nice. But this one I think fits Itachi better. So Itachi is gonna be our guy that has a 4-leaf grimoire. So yeah, I like this one because Itachi, just think about the type of guy Itachi is. He would have a 4-leaf grimoire. I know all the horrible things he's done, but we know Itachi down to the core and who he is. He would be the guy that has a 4-leaf grimoire. No, like there's just no way around that. All right, so Itachi's magic is sunlight magic. Itachi can create or manipulate rays of sunshine. Now, that's broken. You might be thinking like, what? That's nothing, like sunshine. But listen, the sunshine we get here on Earth is severely diluted. It goes through the atmosphere, it goes through particulates in the air, it goes into the clouds, bounces around the clouds, comes down, passes through all the greenhouse gases, and then it hits us. It's severely watered down to what it actually is. Whereas Itachi can conjure pure sunlight rays, which would kill humans if they came directly into contact. You get radiation, forms of you know what I'm talking about. I don't like saying the word because I don't want to jinx anybody, but you would die if you got touched by direct sunlight. You would die. Like there's just no question about it. But if you were exposed to it for too long. So here's what Itachi's sunlight magic can actually do, because sunlight is a very versatile ability, and that's why it's Wizard King level, because Itachi can do all of these things. And they're actually pretty similar to his abilities in Naruto. I gave him this for a reason. Now, he can distort reality by scattering sunlight rays through the air particulates, effectively creating a haze, which creates illusions and confusion. So he can create illusions and make you see things that aren't really there by bouncing the rays of sunlight off particulates in the air. Pretty broken, right? So he can create illusions. Now, he can also set things on fire and combust them just by concentrating rays of sunshine at them. Yeah, he can set things on fire, in a very hot fire that would probably burn you to death instantly, you know, if that's familiar. But yeah, he can set things on fire and combust them. Like he can either set you on fire, and you're like, I'm on fire, or he can blow you up. Like by concentrating enough rays on you and you just go, and you blow up. And it depends on what the material is, because, you know, I don't know, like water's not going to blow up. A rock won't blow up because it's a rock. It'll just melt. But certain things will combust and blow up. Now, the last thing he can do is mold the sun rays into a physical energy that is malleable. So he can take the energy. Usually sunlight, I don't want to say it's invisible, but because it's obviously not. Like we wouldn't be able to see if it was invisible. But you know, it's not. There's a spectrum of like infrared rays and all that stuff. But he can take it, mold it into an energy that looks like mana, and he can use it to like make weapons or make a giant armor or a giant avatar perhaps that he can control. So he can do things like that with sunlight magic. And my question to you after learning all this, Itachi's sunlight magic, right? Then we have Pain's velocity magic, Zetsu's diffusion magic, Orochimaru's transformation magic, coupled with his forbidden vessel magic, Hidan's forbidden poison ritual magic, Tobi's spatial magic, Kakazu's vault magic, Deidara's nitro magic, Sasori's artisan magic, Kisame's ocean magic, and Konan's origami magic. Who is the strongest wizard here? Who? I know we have two candidates that are Wizard King level, that being Kisame and Itachi. Funny enough that they're partners when I created their abilities at different times. Yeah. Who's the strongest? And I know strongest is subjective because who wins in one-on-one fights, right? Like maybe you'd say Itachi because he has that sunlight magic and all that, but he still has to cast spells. Like you still see him doing it. That's how it works in Black Clover. You can't just either you apply your magic to yourself and then you shoot out magic, or you just shoot your magic. Like your magic just doesn't happen like in Jujutsu Kaisen or something where you just activate your technique and without any signs of it being activated. Like Gojo, you can't even see his neutral limitless. You just have to come into contact with it first. That weird curse user that Megami and Yuji fought that had the curse technique inverse. They had no idea he activated his technique. It just was existing. That doesn't happen in Black Clover. You have to activate your magic, launch spells, cast spells, read from your grimoire. And so that delays a lot of Itachi's things. So don't think Itachi's like super broken. It's just the versatility and power of his magic. But like you would normally say maybe Itachi's the strongest, or you could say Pain with his velocity magic that can change the direction and speed and anything. He can launch objects. He can change the speed of himself. He can change the speed of you. Like he can do all types of crazy things to you where you can't do anything to him. And then you have people like Kisame who are more built to like take on a nation. Like the sheer volume of ocean magic and the water he can create, he's the best suited on this list to take on a nation. But he may lose in a one-on-one fight, maybe to Itachi. Itachi can concentrate sunlight rays into his water. And if the sunlight is stronger than the spell that Kisame unleashed, it will probably evaporate the entire body of water he launched at him. So it just depends. Like, let me know who you think is the strongest. Really think about it. Don't just say someone's stronger. You got to think about people and how they fight. A lot of people like to say, I just had this argument with one of my friends in the Discord the other day. He was like, we're not about to talk about who the characters were, but he's saying because someone just outclasses someone in stats, they'll beat this other person who's not really as strong as them in stats, but they're a better fighter. Me personally, I think someone who is a better fighter and can use their abilities better and is smarter and has a better IQ and can deal with things better is a better fighter. I don't care about that they have just overwhelming magic. Someone who's a better fighter will probably beat the person who's stronger. Just in my opinion. So let me know your thoughts on who do you think is the strongest. Really think about all the things that I've said if you need to go back. But yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Obviously, if you want to see more drop down, if you want to see more like group videos or stuff like this, really any creative idea. If I like it, I'll do it. So yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe. And as always, I will catch you in the next one, guys. Peace. 君の気持ちを大事にしなかった私の頭